It is a muggy morning here in the mountains of southern Appalachia. Me and Matt are down here early at the big garden. We're going to try to hoe it. I think he's going to do some tilling, try to get that done before the heat gets too bad. We're still under the heat wave that so many of you are experiencing too. It's been very hot and very dry. The corn is looking really good. You can see how lush and green it is. Over there in that far corner, it's taller than it is anywhere else. That's a moist area. There's like a natural spring, so that helps. But then you can also see how the corn, I don't know if it shows up on the camera or not, but the corn's kind of tilted this way. It's not that we've had any wind, it's that it's reaching for the sunshine, the shade of those trees over there, kind of during the middle part of the day shade, and the corn's reaching out towards the bright sunshine. It's not terribly weedy since we've already done this once. You can see right there's a corn plant right in the middle of the aisle, as Katie would say, in the middle of the aisle. It must have washed down and took root right where it's at. Must have washed down from the row there. You can see the space where it should be. If you notice the sparkles in the video, they're coming from these streamers. We put them up down here at the big garden yesterday. Here's some of that larger corn. You can see I guess that right there is chest high to me. I swear it's grew since yesterday. Isn't that amazing? We were just down here yesterday trying to deer-proof things, and I swear it's grew since yesterday. To hang the streamers on, we used a couple of T-posts that we had, but Matt also just cut some things out of the woods here, cut some stakes, and he hammered them in. I didn't do that. He drove them in the ground just like he did the T-post, and then we tied the streamers to them. Also tied the streamers to the cattle panels where the deer had ate Cory's beans. Come to check on my little watermelon that Matt showed me earlier this week. Look how big it is now. It's growing too. Thankfully, the deer have not bothered Granny's peanut beans that we have growing down here at the big garden. Although they did get in her little garden and they ate one row of her cornfield beans. We also put streamers up there and put some deer repellent all around her garden and this one. This row over here, I had almost forgot about it. I actually had forgot. This is bush beans, but they're butter beans, so I'm really excited about them. And look how great they're doing. Again, thankfully, the deer did not eat them. Well, we managed to get it all hoed. Looks so much better. Matt tilled almost all of it. There's about 2 rows that he's just going to wait till in the morning, till it's a little cooler. Amazing how good it looks, though, once you get it almost all done. As I was hoeing, I come across the first morning glory that's climbing up the corn stalk. I really should pull it out, but I'm going to leave it for now. I did pull up or hoe up a lot of them that were growing in the garden because, of course, if you let them all grow, they're just going to completely take over. Right, here's another little one. You can see how tiny it is against my finger. That's about as big as it gets. I don't know if it's a morning glory or if it's something else, but it is always in the cornfield. While we were hoeing, we cleaned up Cory's cucumbers. There are not many of them up. Maybe she's got 5. That's pretty good, I guess. Better than I thought. One of them's just now coming up. And then the beans that the deer have been nibbling on. Hopefully those streamers there will help ward them off. While we were hoeing the watermelon, look, I found another little watermelon. Isn't that fantastic? 2 watermelons this early is just so great for us. And the difference between right here and up at our house is sunshine. Even though it's so close, we're just far enough up on the ridge that we don't get as much sunshine as happens down here in the big garden. So I know that's why these are doing so well. All of our grapes are doing so good this year, including the wild ones. These are wild grapes that grow along the creek. We call them fox grapes. Walked up to Cory's to see if we could bum a popsicle from her. And I wanted to take a minute and look at her beautiful flowers. We helped her plant this bed. It's been months ago now, I guess, but it is so beautiful. Her cosmos have not bloomed yet. Those in the back, those are sunflowers, but the zinnias are starting to bloom. You can see some of them over there on the other side. She's got some bachelor buttons about to bloom, some calendula coming along good. She's even got some nasturtiums in the front, and there's one of them blooming. She's even got some nasturtiums on this side up in the front. More zinnias about to bloom. More bachelor buttons down there. Here's some beautiful, beautiful blooms. When we helped her do the bed, we used some of the dirt that my friend, mine and Matt's friend Larry brought us. And it must have had a ton of, it must have come from the place where there was lots of ground cherries. You can see there's one. It was just covered in ground cherries yesterday. But me and Cory got in here together, even though it's getting hard for her to bend over. And we got most of them out just so the flowers would have more room to grow. I can't wait to see how the sunflowers look. This is going to be really, really beautiful. So even though Cory couldn't do much this year being pregnant, she did turn out, her and Austin together, they've made a nice little garden here. She's got some little raised beds that her and Austin got. She's got chives and chamomile in that one. She's got some flowers and some onions in this one and a pepper that we give her down there. That is her potato bed. It's overflowing with potatoes, so I know she'll have some good potatoes to eat. And handy right here out the front door. Cory's got her tomatoes right here in the front. Her and Austin put them, this was a good idea to do it where they could grow up. They could attach them to the trellis of the porch there, to the railing. That way they didn't have to worry about creating a bed for them this year. And she's got some more flowers out through there.
It's gonna break it.
No, I was knocking.
No.
Cory saved the day again. She let us have a popsicle. We went in for a few minutes and cooled off, especially Matt. He got so hot running that tiller. Looks good though, except for the 2 rows that you need to finish and our giant patch of ragweeds. Well,
I'll bring a weed eater down here in the morning. I'll get down here about daylight and I'll finish tilling that up and then I'll weed eat that and till it, and then I'm gonna weed eat the creek bank a little bit. And weed eat around
the grapes and the blackberries. This winter we should cut down those blackberries to the ground and let them come back out. I mean, because there's a lot of dead canes in them. They need to be pruned back. As well as this year's new growth is, how tall is that? 12 foot tall? 10 foot?
I think hardly that high. It's probably 8 or 9 feet.
8 or 9 feet. I swear, me and Matt was down here yesterday, and the corn has grew since then.
Seems like it.
It has, I swear.
Well, it'd really grow if it rained.
Yep. So we've been under the same heat wave that a lot of you have been. It's been hot, and it's supposed to be really hot, Matt said, the next 3 days. Into the
Saturday,
first of the
Sunday,
week.
and Monday, and about Tuesday. It'll be mid-90s. That's odd for June.
It is, yeah. Oh, and after you'd went in Cory's, I was out here doing 1 or 2 more things, and I heard the first jar fly. I heard a jar fly.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. It was right up there, right between our house and Cory's. It kind of sounded pitiful, but it was what it was. It was like, maybe it was thinking like, this is too early.
Sure it wasn't a rattlesnake?
It wasn't a rattlesnake. It was a jar fly.
I haven't seen a rattlesnake in a while. They're here. I just rarely see them.
Seems like in my lifetime, the ones that have been found in this holler, the rattlesnakes, have all been down at Uncle Henry's. But you may know more up here. I mean, is it more common for them to be down there? It seems like.
I don't know. There's been more seen down there. I don't know why that is, but I don't know. I've seen one in our driveway, and I've seen one in our edge of our yard years ago. And then everything else just been copperheads and black snakes and corn snakes and stuff.
Might come out the porch. When was that? Yesterday or the day before? Me and Cory and Austin and the baby and Katie had been sitting on the front porch for a good long time, and then we all went in. They had to go home, Cory and Austin, and then you went back out for something, and then right when Matt opened the door, there was a snake right there on the porch.
Yeah, kind of weird because it's about 12 foot off the ground, that porch is. And it's laying right in front of the front door on the porch.
But it was hunting the baby birds.
Probably. That's usually what they're up there for.
And birds build nests in our, what do you call that, under the floor part of the porch. Probably what it was after. As soon as Matt opened the door, Matt said it took a dive off into the hostas.
Yeah.
These hot days, though, make you think of all the hot sayings, you know, that you hear, hotter than a $2 pistol and all those. I think I did a video about that a year or so ago. I will link to that so you can add, if you've got any old sayings like that, you can add them. So we're really hoping that our streamers we put out everywhere will help the deer. I think they will. We also put them in Granny's garden. We put them up there. Well,
I will tell you this.
What?
Since you put them up, I've not seen one, so they must be working.
So many people have left. There's so many different varying things you can do. You know, you hear about the Irish Spring soap, and people collect hair from, excuse me, from their hairdresser or something and put that out. What's some of the other common ones you'll hear? Of course, if you build a fence, or some people use just fishing line. If you just put fishing line around, and I was trying to think of some of the really common ones. If you're talking about crude, like Matt was, but urine, human urine, that would keep them away. And
some people do electric fence.
Yeah, electric fence.
I just hate to do anything that makes it harder for me to get in and out of the garden because I'll end up tangled up in it. And
yeah.
Maybe I'm hoping this will work.
There's also all kinds of different repellents that you can buy and use, but that gets pricey and expensive especially if it's the kind that you have to reapply after it rains. Now there is some that, you know, are like rainproof that you could put out, and maybe you wouldn't have to do it as often. So we had some that we had on hand, and we did put it around this garden. We'd already put it around our gardens, and then we put it around up at Granny's too. So between all that, maybe this will ward them off.
Yeah.
At least the damage that they did was really minor. And I wonder if it wasn't that one little buck that we've been seeing. Because Granny's, that they eat the one row, just like Cory's, the tops of the beans, of her cornfield beans, Paul had went out there to water or do something at Granny's garden, and right when he went off the steps, he jumped a deer because it was laying right behind
the edge of the yard.
right in the edge of the yard right there. I bet it was the same little buck. Paul didn't get a good look at it. It just jumped and run. But that the buck that me and Granny seen, the little one, Paul did jump it in between, well, kind of where all of our, I guess, in between me and Granny, and I mean us and Granny and Cory and Austin and Paul's house, on the side of our driveway. It was bedded right there.
It's crazy.
So that may be the culprit that's doing the bean eating, but hopefully he won't be back, I hope. It is good, the area we live, there is ample food for them so it's not like they're starving. I mean, they could just, everywhere in the woods, there's ample food, so.
Right now, there's more food for them than they are all year.
Yeah.
In the form of browse, and then in the fall, the nuts, if they make. But then after that, it gets kind of scarce.
Yeah. Last night, it was before we went to bed, and then I think during the night I heard it again, though. Our little holler beagle was running something, and I was thinking, I hope you're running the deer. Hope you're chasing them all out.
Well, even if he wasn't running it, he was running it all through here.
Yeah,
and just that noise, if he's running something else, that noise will keep the deer away. Mostly of the night times when we're in here when we're trying to sleep.
Yeah, you need to put your trail cam up and see what you see.
Yeah.
Now, all the years that me and Matt have gardened, two things is true. One is that the deer population has definitely increased.
Yeah, a bunch.
Increased. Like crazy. That's true. But it's also that deer have never bothered our garden except this year, what little damage they've done to Cory's beans and Granny's. And then, if that was what got Granny's, but I'm pretty sure it probably was, both of them. Down here, there's a lot of tracks. I don't know, did we look for tracks in Granny's garden?
I did.
Did you?
It was deer tracks.
Oh, was it? Okay, so. And then, not last fall, but the fall before, I had some stuff planted. Just a little fall garden. We usually do just kind of like kale and maybe some turnips and just things that it won't matter if they get frosted on. And something ate them, and then Matt did put his deer cam out, and he got it. It was 2 big does, wasn't it, or was it 3? I can't remember.
Just 2, I think, and they were in the yard about every night.
Yeah.
2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
And I was just heartbroken. I was like, I'll never be able to have a garden again. And Matt's like, well, don't worry about it right now. Let's worry about it, in the spring when it's time to garden. But then they didn't bother nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the fears now that I have. I never had that before, but now I'm like, I'm going to wake up and my whole garden's going to be gone. It's like there's going to be 500 deer in my yard or something.
Just a wee bit fatalistic. Just, you need to relax a little bit.
I know.
I mean, it gets that bad. I'll take care of them. I just don't want to.
Granny said, I think it was those deers. She said, I think that Matt's going to have to do what he said and sleep in a hammock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's worrying about her cornfield beans, but we didn't replant them because I think they're up about that big, and just the leaves are gone, like on Cory. So I think they'll come back out if they'll leave them alone. They'll come back out. So we didn't replant them. And then the back row he didn't touch. It was just the front row.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't imagine in the old days when you absolutely had to have it to live.
It'd be a lot more pressure and anxiety.
Oh my goodness. Not the pest. And then you think about the weather, yeah. And then even like, if your cow got out and got in it or something like that.
Or somebody else's
livestock.
And that happened here one time.
Yeah. One time the cows come across the ridge there behind the camera where we're at and got in Pap's garden.
They stomped the whole garden.
So you think about all those different things, and like the weather,
And you just ain't nothing you can do about the weather.
No. So it's a true blessing that we don't have to worry about it like folks did then. Mm-hmm. It is frustrating. I mean, whether it's the deer or the squash bugs, you don't want to plant something, or rabbits or groundhogs or birds or whatever you deal with. It is frustrating to put all that work in and then have something tear it up or eat it.
that's all we're out is the labor.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much.
But we're so in love with the garden that
Oh,
we
yeah.
just keep doing it and trying to protect it as best we can. I was really amazed when we were out there working. I told Matt it was definitely hot, but I was having to bend over in some places and weed in between the corn. Oh, we were going to talk about the hoe too. That reminds me. Don't want you to forget that. We should have brought it up here with us. But anyway, I kept getting wet. I couldn't believe the dew that was on the corn. It's just amazing how heavy the dews are here. It is really
Especially
amazing.
Bone dry like
Yeah.
it is right now.
But you could just look down in the corn, and it's just like almost like, you know, somebody poured some water in there. It's just wet. It's really, really amazing. We were using our new hose. What's the name of them, Matt?
Rogue.
Rogue. Yeah. Some of you told us about them. Thank you. Well, we've used them now long enough to know that we really, really like them. Really like them. And what was it you said about the one you was using? Matt was using the longer. It's short this way, but long.
Yeah, the bit part of it is really, really short, but it's a wide hoe, and you can turn it up on its edge and get between the corn stalks with it, and just be careful not to hit them and get the weeds that's between them. Whereas a regular hoe, you can't do that with. Another thing I found out it's good for is turning it up on its edge again. It's real good at making rows when you're planting, because it's just the right size for a row or for a furrow planting seeds.
I liked what you said about Daddy, though.
Oh yeah, if I'd have bought that when he was still here, he would have laughed at it. And I thought it was kind of weird too when I first got it till I used it, but he would have laughed at it and kind of scoffed at it until he saw being able to get between those corn
Till
stalks.
he used it.
And then he would have really liked that.
Yeah, he would have
He
loved
would
it.
have really liked that.
Yeah. He would have loved it. So Matt was using that one, and I've been using the one that's more like a hoe shape, just a miniature version, a little small. And I really like it. And if you're hoe impaired like I am, it's hard for me to use a hoe without tearing up whatever it is I'm trying to hoe. It's just so much easier because it's so much smaller, so there's less danger of me tearing up the plant. So Rogue.
Yeah, and you should try that one. I've been using
Yeah, I
it,
need
and
to.
you may end up really liking it, and we'll get another one.
Yeah, I need to. And of course, we've only had them this year, so we don't know how long they'll hold up. But so far, they seem to be real sturdy too.
I think they're made from recycled plow disc.
That's neat.
I think is what I understood on the website. That's how they make them, is just old plow discs that are not like on a disc harrow that, you know, no longer used. That's what they cut them out of and make them, and that's pretty cool.
That is neat. Yeah, yeah. So thank you to everyone that told us about them. We really, so far, really love them. It's like like I said, I'm hoe impaired, so it ain't like I've ever been attached to a hoe, really. I can do better just squatting down or bending over and pulling weeds is usually what I do. So it's not like I have great experience, but I can say that's my favorite hoe I've ever used.
Yeah, the cool thing is they've actually got a grind on them like a knife edge. You know, and you could go back with a file and keep it sharp if you wanted to. Most hoes you buy are just a flat edge, but this one is literally ground like a cutting edge on a knife.
Matt has, in some of the videos he shared about how his truck gets on his nerves because it's pushed to start like most of the newer ones are. Well, he has, you can't say upgraded, maybe downgraded.
Yeah.
Downgraded his truck to an older one. But the interesting thing about it is his old truck.
Yeah, I've bought the same truck twice.
And the first time it was new. He bought it new. It had
almost new.
It had like 1,000 miles on it or something, 600 something.
1,400.
1,400. Okay, yeah. So it was almost new.
Yeah.
And that was in when was that?
That was in January of 2012. And I really liked it and would have kept it all these years, but I sold it to get tuition money for the girls to go to college. And I didn't want to sell it, but I did. But I ended up with it back. So it's now that it's wore out and junked out, now I've got it back.
Well, it ain't wore out. It's just been used. But who he sold it to all those years ago was Papaw.
Yeah.
And even then, Matt wanted something plain. So when we went to buy a truck at that time, Matt had to have a truck. That's what he wanted one. It has the roll-up windows.
And
it's a
manual door locks.
and it's a straight drive transmission.
Right.
And he wanted just the plain Jane. And that's what he got.
That, and even that one is not as plain as I would like, but it was about as plain as I could find.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just the way I like vehicles, because maintenance of them so much simpler, and they seem to last better, and there's not as much to go wrong. And pushing buttons to get something done, they just ain't nothing that makes me more angry than that. I don't know why that is. I just have such an aversion to electronic stuff. I just can't stand it. And I bought the truck I had. I mean, I knew it when I bought it.
Right.
But I was just, I don't know.
Well, it's the same thing. It's hard to find something that's plain.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find.
Unless you buy, I mean, even then they're really expensive. If you buy one like Katie's, an old truck, but then they've got so expensive.
Gosh, yeah.
Those kind of trucks, so.
Yeah, we saw one. I saw one just like hers. It was completely restored, and I mean, it's really nice. And the thing was $30,000, and that truck brand new was about $7,000.
Crazy.
But anyway.
Yeah, Papa was wanting he wanted a automatic, and so he was looking for one, and then Matt, of course, has been complaining about his, and somehow y'all come up with trading.
Well, he called me a week or so ago, week and a half, whenever it was, and said he was going to trade trucks. And I said, I'll trade with him. How you trade? And I didn't think he would be interested, but he was. And then we just worked it out, and I went out there last Friday, I think it was, and we swapped them out, and then I come back home. And I've been piddling on this one some, but I really do like it, sure do like to drive it.
And we didn't even say what it was. It's a Toyota too.
Yeah, it's just a little standard cab Toyota, 4-wheel drive, 4-cylinder, 5-speed, manual windows, manual locks.
It's a nice little truck. Back then, when Matt first got it, one time me and Cory and Katie took it. It was one of the days when we'd go to Berea every year and dance, contra dance, and we took it all the way to Berea. I can't remember, something must have been wrong with the 4Runner, why we didn't take the 4Runner.
Yeah, I can't
But
remember.
Anyway, we took that truck, so all three of us in the little truck.
Yeah.
Cory and Katie complained the whole time, but it was fine. Yeah. Made it up there and back fine.
And that thing's made many trips to deer camping back and never had any kind of issue at all. And it'll do it again this fall with just me driving it this time.
Yeah. Papa is an electrician, and he's used it to work out of.
Yeah, he's worked out of it. That's been about 10 years ago when I sold it to him.
Yeah, Matt sold it we were trying to come up with money to pay for Cory and Katie's tuition to go to college, yeah.
And he was hunting a truck then.
At that time, yeah.
So I sold him that one, and I got his old one then.
Yeah.
And it was wore out.
It was wore out.
It was a good truck, but it was wore out, and I don't remember what I sold it. I don't remember why, but I did.
Did you sell that to Melvin, or was that a different one?
That was a different one.
Anyway, that's exciting news on the truck front since Matt's been complaining about his push to start.
I've actually got a key
to
stick in and turn.
He's really happy with his key.
That by itself is worth the whole trade to me.
Have a key.
And I don't have a fob in my pocket that I bump the buttons on and the panic alarm goes off, and or I bump it and accidentally lock the doors.
Yeah.
To me, that's just there's almost nothing makes me any more angry than fooling with something like that. I guess I'm just
And here you got a friend.
Old fogey or whatever.
Well, I don't know where he went. It's a granddaddy. Oh, he's right here on the chair. Okay, Mr. Granddaddy, you're going to have to go on. He's coming right back.
Maybe he likes me.
He may be like the bees. He may like Matt like the bees.
Yeah.
Mr. Granddaddy, you better go somewhere else. We've had a pretty good week this week. Everything's been good and everything's went good, but we have been thinking a lot about Miss Cindy because this is a year ago, as she was in her last days. This is the week that she died last year, so we've been thinking a lot about her, and she'd just be tickled with the corn. She would think that was the greatest thing ever.
Yep.
She would. She was always excited. She wasn't a gardener. She didn't know about gardening. She knew how to put up stuff. She liked to put up things, but she didn't really know much about growing things. But she was just always enamored and cheerleading for me and Matt growing things. She just loved it.
Yep.
So she would really be impressed with the cornfield. She would really be impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Back when she lived in Black Mountain, she had a friend. We've talked about him a lot, Solly, and in fact, we're growing, some of the cucumbers we're growing came from Solly. Our blueberry bushes and our grapes come from Solly. Not all the blueberry bushes, but some of them. Anyway, he always had a garden. Well, he loved the growing part, but he didn't like the putting up part. So him and Miss Cindy made a deal that he would do all the labor, and then she would can it, and then they would split split it. So, and of course, they were both single people living by themselves, so they wasn't like they needed enough to provide for a big family. But she really enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah.
She really enjoyed that. I've been talking about Miss Cindy on the Blind Pig and the Acorn this week, kind of celebrating her, sharing different things, and I've been going back through the archives, and I've always said she really was my biggest supporter and encourager, my biggest fan as far as the blog goes from the very beginning. And looking back through some of those comments from the very first years, she's still in Black Mountain, but I come across one that was like, I've been putting up tomatoes this week from a farmer. I know it was him, from a friend who has a farm, and how much she enjoyed it, and she just thought she'd take a break and see what was going on the Blind Pig and the Acorn, and and then I seen one where she always signed it Miss Cindy on the blog as far as her comments, but she'd put Miss Cindy, Murphy.
Yeah.
So I guess she was really proud. That was right when she had moved out here. Really proud that she had moved out here. And even though she's just down the road from us, she technically was in Murphy, so that's why she put that in that zip code, in other words, instead of our Brasstown zip code, even though she's really close. It's been interesting, though, to go back and read some of her stuff. That even then, she's just so proud of us and proud of Matt and Cory and Katie, and oh my goodness, she'd be excited about these grandbabies. Yeah, she would. She'd just be amazed with them. So it's been a week just kind of being so grateful for what we have, but also a little bittersweet thinking about Miss Cindy and missing her, and hard to believe it's already been a year. How has it been a year?
Time flies.
It just does, yeah. She would be, pleased with the corn, like I said, but she would be pleased with Cory and Austin being here. And then as I sit here, I'm looking at her lawnmower right there that Austin's been using. She'd be pleased with that,
Yep.
So many things. She believed in things being useful, and then she believed in using them. And if you couldn't use them, then you should find somebody that could use them.
Right.
There was somebody out there that needed it.
Right.
She so often, after she moved over here, she'd pick up something sometimes at the dump store. I don't know if you have a dump store, but like we do, where people can leave things that are useful, and then you can get it for free. It doesn't cost anything, kind of deal. And she'd see something she thought was interesting or useful, and she'd bring it, and sometimes we would be, it'd be something we could use, but sometimes we'd all be like, no. And she'd say, okay, I'll take it back because there'll be somebody else that'll be able to use it,
Yeah.
She'd take it back. Matt used to tease me and her that all we did was ferry stuff back and forth between us.
Yeah.
Miss Cindy was the person that got rid of all my stuff. Like if I had things that were, you know, I didn't want to just throw away because, again, somebody could use them. She would just, I'll handle it. Just give it to me. I'll handle it. And then, of course, she would do stuff for us, too. I mean, bring us stuff. So Matt said that's all we did was ferry stuff back and forth.
Yeah, you'd pick up stuff, and I would have to unload it or haul it in, and then it'd sit there a while, and then it'd be time to get rid of it. And then I'd have to load it in her car, and she'd get rid of it, and then she'd pick up something, bring it over here, and if we ended up taking it, I'd have to unload that, and then the whole circle come back around, and it just never ended.
That's what Matt said. Boy, I've missed her helping me do stuff like that.
Yeah.
She just said, don't even worry about it. Just let me have it, and I'll find a good home for it. I'll figure it out. So she'd donate it, or if she knew somebody that could use it, she'd take it to them. And, you know, when she still lived in Black Mountain, and even after she moved here for a long time, any of our clothes that we didn't want anymore, maybe the girls outgrew or something like that, she would take them, and she would take them to a consignment shop, and she just handled all that. And she would like iron them and make them nice and take them, and then when the tab got money on it, then she'd take us, we'd go to visit, and we'd go there and we'd spend all the money on buying school clothes or whatever it was. She was really kind of her. She did all the work, though. All we had to do was walk in and reap the benefits, and it was a really nice consignment store too. So I still wear stuff that come from there. I'm afraid it closed after COVID, though.
Is that right?
I think so. Etc. was the name of it in Asheville. Is that West Asheville?
Yes.
Yeah, West Asheville. If you're still there, you may know if it's open or if it's not open. But we went there for many, many years. Matt went there too. He'd find stuff sometimes.
Yep.
But she did all the work. She'd take the stuff, and she got to know the people in there. And then she said, sometimes I take it and they won't accept it. I'll just take it home and keep it, and then I'll take it back, and they will.
Yeah.
So it become like a little game, but she never spent any of the money. She left it all for us. And then if there was a time, of course, we just didn't find anything, then she just insisted I cash out the money and bring it home. She'd give us the money for it too. So very, very sweet lady.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you about come unfed, huh? You didn't eat no breakfast this morning, so I know he has.
Yeah, but I doubled down on supper last night. I kind of overdid it, so I'm not hurting too bad today.
We had pork sandwiches and slaw and French fries last night. Actually, they were leftovers. We'd had them the night before too, but.
Yeah, but I suffice it to say I had more than one of them last night. And then I didn't stop at that. I kept going back and eating more things right before bed, as I'm prone to do at times. It's a bad habit.
There's one little bowl of barbecue left. You could have that today for your dinner.
If there's enough, I will. If Katie don't want it, I'll eat it.
There might be enough for both of you. It filled up a little container.
Okay.
And there's some slaw left.
It'll be good. We get the good out of that. Eat every piece
bite
of it.
Yeah. Cory and Austin ate with us the first night. They liked it. And then we had enough leftovers for me and Katie and Matt to eat it. I was thinking about the corn, how pleased we are with it so far, and it just looks so good, and so excited about it as we were out there working, and then I was thinking about how it'd be so good to eat it, Granny and Paul's looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to it. But I was thinking someday there'll be 2 grandsons that'll look forward to it, and if they eat a lot, we're gonna have to. There'll be 2 more people to feed. That's what I was thinking, 2 more people on our list of people to feed.
So what are you saying? We're gonna have to enlarge?
I don't know. I wasn't necessarily thinking enlarge. I was just thinking wow. I hadn't thought about that. Of course, because when they're born, they're not eating solid food, or certainly not corn and taters and beans. But yeah.
Well, the good part about that is we can send them to the garden to pull the corn. We'll be getting too old and decrepit to do it, and we can also teach them to grow it.
Oh yeah, we can. Yeah. I used to hate to get sent to the garden. I'd drag my feet, and now I think, gosh, that was just one of the best things, to be able to go, somebody to send you to the garden to get corn or pull onions or whatever it was. Now, Granny likes to tell this funny story about herself, that I swear she probably done it on purpose, knowing her. She's a little mischievous, but when she was little, her mama, there was always there was a big family, and then there was always other people there, so her mama was always cooking for a bunch of people. And they sent Granny to the garden and told her to bring back some onions, is what they sent her after. She was just little, and she come back and she brought garlic. She pulled up the garlic. And they all just laughed and laughed at her. And then she said, but they didn't send me no more to the garden. So it's funny. She pulled up the garlic and brought it in.
Mm-hmm.
Funny.
They do sort of look similar.
Yeah, sort of. Well, I guess we'll go up the hill. We thank you for spending time with us today, and hope you keep coming back so you can watch us harvest the corn eventually, if we can beat the deer out of it.
Yeah.
And then after the deer, we're going to have to start worrying about the raccoons once it actually starts forming corn. They don't care nothing about it now, but
Well, they be in their best interest to move on.
Matt's already talking about getting his live trap out and starting to trap them, relocate them.
Yeah.
You might as well do that, probably.
Yeah, probably should go ahead and get started now. The only thing is, I thought about that this morning. One of them goes in the live trap and gets caught, that dog's going to bay it all night. Right where we can hear it.
Probably. Maybe not. You see.
Yeah, it will. That's just what it does.
Yeah. Is that Olive?
Yeah.
Sounds like Olive's got somebody bayed.
Yeah.
She probably hears us talking.
She's probably barking at a bug.
Probably so.
Yeah.
We're always glad when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia. I need to go back and finish my kitchen.
You done with it?
Uh-uh.
What do you got left to do?
I'm almost done. Oh, I need to go through all the cabinets, but that ain't gonna happen probably. I'll have to save that for a different day.
Yeah.
I still got to do the island, the ceiling fan, the door.
Okay.
Where's your woodpecker?
Yep. I've been studying on. I'm thinking about building you an island.
I would love for you to,
Just
and it wouldn't bounce.
Something maybe a little wider.
Yeah.
And something real sturdy that won't
shake
and make a racket, and it's got more different types of shelving in it that's more suitable.
Yeah. Yeah, those shelves are nice, except that bottom one's like grated, so
Right.
stuff falls through it.
Right.
And then the next one, well, both of them, I don't know though. I started to say maybe they could be more narrow, but I don't know though, because I got some tall stuff, so you'd have to think about that. But yeah, even if it was just exactly like that, but sturdy and solid, that would be nice.
Right.
I wouldn't have to worry about it shaking every time you do something.
Add that to the list. I've also been thinking about a barn.
I know, we need the barn. It's probably ain't gonna be right now. That's a wintertime project. After deer season project. The fox grapes are loaded.
Are they? Well, get them this year and make jelly.
This is the year for grapes. These grapes are loaded. Ours at home are loaded.
Cool.
They're loaded, all of them.
Yeah, let's go.
All right.